Well, hockey season has begun, and of course, it is a lot of physical demand on your body. But how can you get that perfect workout for the hockey player in your family? Well, Rich Thaw from Core Excellence is back, of course, with the women with the greatest thighs on the planet here. We've all been looking at it. You guys are in such great shape. But I mean, let's talk first of all about the physical demands on a hockey player's body. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, hockey, just like many other sports, requires a lot of different demands. So one, you have to slow down quickly and start quickly.
Right.
You have to change of direction both straight ahead and off to the side. You have to be strong on the upper body because if you go into the boards or battle for the puck, you have to make sure you don't get knocked off the puck. And you have to be very aware of everything else that's going on.
Yeah, of course.
So there's a lot going on.
Well, I guess, and the other thing is posture, right? Because you're in a much different posture in hockey than you are in any other, daily activity.
Yeah.
Do you have to keep that in mind as a hockey player?
Absolutely. So just like these ladies are doing right now, they're keeping their chest up, they're looking pretty much forward. So they are keeping the eye kind of peripherally on the puck and also staying and watching the game. So you do definitely need to be conscious of staying upright.
So what part, let's look at the physical part of things. We were watching them sort of in that skating motion.
Yeah.
What part of the body do you have to take care of the most as a hockey player?
I would say the connector is that core, that trunk stability.
Okay.
Which does really connect the lower body strength to the upper body strength, the lower body power, upper body power. You do need both components. Power being like, are you explosive if a hard shot?
Right.
Able to shoot that light puck very quickly. And strength being like, are you stable enough to get a strong push off of there? Are you stable enough if somebody knocks you, you don't fall over? So that's strength in the power component.
Let's talk about what they're doing here now. What are they working on here specifically?
So these are hamstring curls. Leia's doing the one-leg variation, and Linda over there is doing the two-leg variation. The key pointers here is as the heel comes in, the hips rise, right? And from there, we're keeping the shoulders right to the knees in a straight line. So keeping that core strong. As hockey players, they stay bent over a lot right here. So this is the position, right? So very often those hip flexors get really tight. Sometimes they get groin strains because they're staying here a lot and they're pushing. So they're in a position that's not so advantageous for trunk stability or core stability, right? So hamstrings is a great muscle to help stay out of this position, and hamstrings pull the pelvis this way, pull the pelvis underneath us to help that core stay strong. So you can look at hamstrings as a very important core muscle, and that's why we incorporate them a lot when we train a lot of hockey players.
That makes a lot of sense. All right, what are they doing next here?
So talking about that rotational power, or the rotational stability and strength, Leia's getting down just as you would, let's say in a ready stance, a hockey face-off stance, and taking that puck, a little top corner shot right there. So aiming for that top corner, right? So she's driving through that outside leg, pulling the band right to her chest because we're strong, we have stuff close to us, and punching right through.
So what specific muscles is she targeting here?
So here she's working that rotational component, so she's working the obliques.
Right.
She's working that glute and that drive off of those powerful thighs of hers. And then she's going right through that trunk into the shoulders and right through the roof.
Okay. Let's have a look before we run out of time. I want to make sure we get to a few more here because if you're, even if you're not playing competitive hockey, there's a lot of young people perhaps in rec leagues. Are these exercises, would they be something beneficial to them as well?
Absolutely. So I specifically chose these exercises because they can be progressed or regressed.
Okay.
They're great for a great range of athletes and individuals. So the order that we did them in this morning, it would be, I suggested, the order that they will be done.
Okay.
Mainly because they complement each other in terms of structure. So this bent over row, they both do not have anything to push on, which means they have to add some extra trunk stability.
Right.
As another variation or a regression would be one of them has their hand on something, so a little less rotational demands.
I wanted to ask you about one of the things you sent to us was that overdevelopment of quads versus adductor.
Yeah.
And for people that aren't familiar with those two, what exactly is the difference between those
Quads
two?
are thighs,
Okay.
adductors are groins, essentially. Right, so just like I mentioned, in the hockey stride, you're nice and low and you're pushing out all the way this way. So this gets pretty stretched. And for hockey players who always stay in this position on skates that are kind of tilted forward, those thighs get really strong, but sometimes those glutes and those hamstrings aren't as strong as those thighs.
Okay.
So what can happen is because these thighs are so powerful, it drives the leg out there quickly, and the groin muscle is like, oh, let me try and hold on, and all of a sudden, something happens, a little pull, a little something.
I remember Dominic Hasek, right? That was his last season in hockey.
There you go.
It was the adductor. I think he hurt it in the Olympics, and then he was out for the rest of the NHL season.
It's a gnarly injury. So adductor or pelvic or core strength is very important in terms of injury prevention or resiliency.
Ladies, thank you so much.
Here.
You guys are just unbelievable. And they never stop. Rich Thaw from Core Excellence joining us again here in the BT studio. Rich, thank you very much for your time.